Special operations are military operations that are special or unconventional and carried out by dedicated special forces and other special operations forces units using unconventional methods and resources. Special operations may be performed independently of or in conjunction with conventional military operations. The primary goal is to achieve a political or military objective where a conventional force requirement does not exist might adversely affect the overall strategic outcome. Special operations are usually conducted in a low-profile manner that aims to achieve the advantages of speed, surprise, and violence of action against an unsuspecting target. Special ops are typically carried out with limited numbers of highly trained personnel that are adaptable, self-reliant and able to operate in all environments, and able to use unconventional combat skills and equipment. Special operations are usually implemented through specific, tailored intelligence use and efficiency. United States. The decade 2003 to 2012 saw U.S. national security strategy rely on special operations to an unprecedented degree. Identifying, hunting, and killing terrorists became a central task in the global war on terrorism. Linda Robinson, Adjunct Senior Fellow for U.S. National Security and Foreign Policy at the Council on Foreign Relations, argued that the organizational structure became flatter and cooperation with the intelligence community was stronger, allowing special operations to move at the speed of war. Special operations appropriations are costly. Its budget went from $2.3 billion in 2001 to $10.5 billion in 2012. Some experts argued the investment was worthwhile, pointing to the raid in May 2011 that killed Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Others claimed that the emphasis on special operations precipitated a misconception that it was a substitute for prolonged conflict. Raids and drone strikes are tactics that are rarely decisive and often incur significant political and diplomatic costs for the United States. Although raids and drone strikes are necessarily to disrupt dire and imminent threats, special operations leaders readily admit that they should not be the central pillar of U.S. military strategy. Instead, special operations commanders stated that grand strategy should include their indirect approach, which meant working with non-U.S. partners to accomplish security objectives. Special operations forces forge relationships that can last for decades with a diverse collection of groups, training, advising, and operation alongside other countries' militaries, police forces, tribes, militias, or other information groups. Special operations forces. Special Operations Forces is a term primarily used in the West. It is an all-encompassing term that defines a nation's specialized units. The term Special Forces is age-old and used by countries around the world to describe the specialized unit. Examples of special operations include special reconnaissance, military intelligence, unconventional warfare, psyops, and counter-terrorism actions. Special operations are sometimes associated with unconventional warfare, counter-insurgency, operations against guerrillas or irregular forces, low-intensity operations, and foreign internal defense. Special operations may be carried out by conventional forces but are often carried out by special operations forces, which are military units that are specifically trained and use special equipment, weapons, and tactics. They are sometimes referred to as elite forces, commandos, and special operators. In the United States military, SOF includes Army Special Forces, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, Navy SWCC, Air Force Pararescue, Marine Special Operations, select specially trained military intelligence, counterintelligence units, civil affairs, military information support operations, personnel, and Special Operations Aviation units under the umbrella of the United States Army Special Operations Command. While not formally designated as Special Operations Forces, there are several units whose missions and training are identical to SOF but operate in support of conventional combatant commanders, to include U.S. Army Long-Range Reconnaissance Companies, detachments, U.S. Army Pathfinder Companies, Military Police Special Reaction Teams, Marine Force Recon, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Units, and various sniper teams. In the recent conflicts, the 101st Airborne Division has been increasingly involved conducting special operations, especially the training and development of other states' military and security forces. This is known in the special operations community as foreign internal defense. It was announced the 14th of January 2016 that 1,800 soldiers from the 101st headquarters and its 2nd Brigade Combat Team will deploy soon on regular rotations to Baghdad and Erbil to train and advise Iraqi Army and Kurdish Peshmerga forces who are expected in the coming months to move toward Mosul, the Islamic State group's de facto headquarters in Iraq. Other special operations forces include the British Special Boat Service and Special Air Service, the Japanese Special Forces Group and Special Boarding Unit, the Norwegian Mariner Jager Commando and FSK, as well as the Indian Marcos and Para